48. 50 Republican senators to 48 Democratic senators. We got 2 more to decide. Okay? Right now, that's where it's at. Now, keep in mind, with Georgia, if we can get 1 more Republican senator, if we can get 2 more, then we will have the majority in the Senate. Now, why does that matter? Because although the presidential race has not been called, there is a possibility that there will be Biden-Harris in the White House. And we have to prepare for that possibility. Now, the media does not decide who wins the presidential election. Yes, they've called it, but it has not been certified by the states. As you know, we're having a hand vote recount in the state of Georgia. And that's important. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or Independent, you want it to be right. You want every legal vote to be counted. You want no illegal votes to be counted. All of us have to believe in the accuracy of the election process. That is so very important to us as Americans. All of us believe that. So however that plays out, it is extremely important that we understand. Now, understand what's going on in the House. We have flipped. We have changed 10 Democratic seats to Republican seats for a net gain of 7. Why is that a net gain of 7? Because they redistricted in North Carolina, they took 2 seats away from us, and unfortunately we lost 1 seat in Georgia. However, no incumbent Republican in the House of Representatives has been defeated, and none will be defeated. And we've added on 7 seats. We're at 208 right now. We will probably end up at 212. However, you have to have 218 to be in the majority. So that means Nancy Pelosi is going to be Speaker again. That's right. You ought to be up there with her. I'm telling you. That means that if we don't have control of the White House, and we're not going to have control of the House of Representatives, the Senate is our last line of defense. Our last line of defense. I cannot overstate this. I can't tell you how important this is, folks. Because what happens if the Democrats pick up the 2 seats in Georgia, then it's 50-50. And if Senator Harris is vice president, the vice president is president of the Senate and casts the deciding vote. So that means the Democrats will control the House, the Senate, and, God forbid, the White House. What does that mean? That means that their radical socialist agenda gets pushed forward. We mentioned it, stacking the Supreme Court, adding more seats on the Supreme Court, raising your taxes, decreasing military funding, the Green New Deal. Holy cow, can you imagine? The Green New Deal. All those things. And what happens to your Second Amendment rights? Guess what? They come in to get your guns, folks. I'm just telling you. I'm not exaggerating. They are serious about this. That's why it's so very important. I cannot say how important this is. I wish I could articulate to you how important these Senate races are in the state of Georgia. Now, what can you do? Well, first of all, you can pray. And I hope you will. And I ask you to do that. Secondly, you can get out and vote. Now look, if you didn't vote in the November 3rd election, you can still register to vote by December the 7th. And look, we ain't got time for you to be embarrassed. We ain't got time for you to feel bad about the fact that you weren't registered before. We just need you to register, okay? Get past that and get registered. Now, Jason mentioned we got people moving into the state of Georgia and registering to vote, and we're going to put a stop to that. That is a felony if you do that in the state of Georgia. If you move into the state of Georgia and for no other reason but to vote, then you move right back out. You got to stay at least, you got to get a driver's license, you got to stay at least 6 months. It is true, they are going to try to do that, but if we find it out, that will be a felony for them. Let me tell you. But we've got to do our part. And I would submit to you that this group, that this movement, the Second Amendment right movement, is going to be the key in this election. It is going to be the key. So again, what can you do? You can register to vote. You can pray. You can donate. That will help. Listen, this money is going to come from out of state. We're going to get money from California, New York, and it's not going to be tens of millions of dollars. It's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars. They are estimating that over $400 million will be spent on these 2 races in the state of Georgia. And talk about the contrast of what's going on here. You got David Perdue, a businessman, who understands and has created jobs. You got John Ossoff, who is nothing more than a trust fund socialist who's never worked. His family bought a video company in London, a video commentary company, and he's been working with a Chinese company that creates videos for the past 2 years. That's owned by the Chinese Communist government. Now, that's just who we want as a senator from the state of Georgia. It's just who we don't want. That contrast is obvious and it's significant. Kelly Loeffler, another successful business person running against Raphael Warnock. Folks, this is cut and dry, no question about it. But just keep in mind what is at stake here. The last line of defense for a Senate majority is right here in the state of Georgia. It will take place on January 5th. Early voting will start before that. If you are not registered, or if you know somebody who's not registered, please encourage them, make them, go down there with them. Go down there with them and get them registered to vote and get out and vote. Vote absentee, vote early. Do whatever you've got to do, but you've got to vote. This is the most important election of our lifetime. I don't care how old you are. This is the most important election of our lifetime. Right here in the state of Georgia. The balance of power hangs right here in the state of Georgia. This is so very important. Think about what they're going to do. They are going to come taking your guns. I'm just telling you. You think I'm exaggerating? I'm not exaggerating. I'm up there with them. I know what they're like. I know what they do. They're going to raise your taxes. Yeah, they're going to make sure and decrease military funding. They're going to pass the Green New Deal. You pay what you're paying now, $1.89 per gallon of gas? Get ready to be paying $5 and $6 a gallon of gas. That ought to be good for you. They're going to pack the Supreme Court. They're going to add Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico as states so that they can add 4 more Senate seats on and have the majority in the Senate for sure. It is, folks, I wish I could make you believe, and I hope I have convinced you how important this is. Now, what if you don't live in the state of Georgia? You can still help. You can still donate. You got friends in the state of Georgia. You know people in the state of Georgia. Call them up. Tell them. Get out and vote. Get out and register. You know, when we're going door to door, we get lists that tells us who lives in this house and if they're registered to vote. You would be shocked at the number of people who are not registered to vote. Let's make sure, as I say, forget about being embarrassed, forget about feeling bad about it, just get it done. That's the most important thing. The last thing I'll say is this, and I've already said it, the last line of defense is right here in the state of Georgia. And I am not exaggerating. This movement, the Second Amendment movement, this is probably going to be the deciding factor. I'm not exaggerating. It will be. Because I'm going to tell you, if we don't get out there and do our job, then they're going to come after you. They're going to come after you guns. And God forbid that ever happen, because I'd hate to see them try to get any of y'all's guns.